My girlfriend's drunken confession shattered my world. She cheated with her ex, got pregnant. She wanted me to raise his kid, then she threatened to end it all. My heart sank as Lucas, my best friend, pulled me aside at a crowded San Francisco party. His face was grim, his voice low. "Jake, you need to hear this," he said. My girlfriend Emma had too much to drink and spilled a secret that shattered my world. She confessed to Lucas that she'd been sneaking around with her ex, Ryan, behind my back. Worse, she was pregnant with his kid. My stomach churned, my palms grew sweaty. I'd just gotten my acceptance letter to Stanford, my dream school. Emma knew how much it meant to me, yet she planned to make me drop out to raise her child. I stood frozen in the dimly lit backyard, the bass of the music pounding in my ears. Emma was across the lawn, laughing with her friends, oblivious to the bomb she'd just dropped. 3 years together, since sophomore year at Lincoln High. I thought we were solid, that we'd build a future. I pictured us traveling, maybe even getting married after I graduated. Now, her betrayal hit like a freight train. How could she do this? How could she think I'd throw my dreams away for a lie? I remembered the little signs I'd ignored, the late-night texts she brushed off as nothing, the way she'd get defensive when I asked about Ryan. I trusted her, believed her when she said he was just an old friend from freshman year. But now, those moments flashed back, sharp and painful. I felt like a fool. Lucas put a hand on my shoulder, his eyes steady. "I had to tell you, man." She said it like it was no big deal, like you'd just go along with it. My chest tightened. I wanted to storm over, confront her right there, but my legs wouldn't move. The idea of raising another man's child, of giving up Stanford, made my head spin. I thought about our late-night talks, how she'd smile and say she loved me. Was it all a lie? The party lights blurred as my eyes stung. I wasn't just hurt, I was furious. Emma had played me, and I'd been blind to it. I took a deep breath, the cool Bay Area air grounding me. I wasn't going to let this slide. I needed answers, and I needed them now. Lucas nodded as I told him I'd talk to her tomorrow, when she was sober. My heart raced, but I knew I had to face this head-on. I'd worked too hard for Stanford, for my future, to let her derail me. As I watched Emma stumble through the crowd, her laughter now a knife in my chest, I made a promise to myself. No matter what, I wouldn't let her lies define me. Looking back, I should have seen the cracks in our relationship long before Emma's drunken confession. We met sophomore year at Lincoln High in San Francisco, back when life felt simpler. Emma was magnetic, bright smile, quick wit, always the center of attention. I was just Jake Miller, a quiet kid with big dreams of Stanford. She made me feel alive, like I could do anything. We'd spend hours at Ocean Beach, talking about our future, her hand in mine, the waves crashing nearby. I fell hard, thinking we were building something real. But there were moments, even early on, that gnawed at me. By senior year, Emma started acting distant. She'd check her phone constantly, tilting it away when I glanced over. One night, at a diner in the Mission District, I caught a glimpse of her screen. A text from Ryan, her ex from freshman year, popped up. "Miss you," it said, with a winking emoji. My stomach dropped. I asked her about it, trying to keep my voice steady. She laughed it off, saying they were just friends, that it was puppy love from years ago. I wanted to believe her, so I did. She kept texting him, though. I'd see his name light up her phone during our movie nights at my place in San Jose. Each time I'd ask, and she'd roll her eyes. "Jake, you're being paranoid. Ryan's nothing to me," she'd say, her tone sharp. I hated feeling like the jealous boyfriend, so I backed off. But the doubts lingered, like a splinter I couldn't pull out. She'd talk about wanting to explore the world before settling down, her words vague but heavy. I'd suggest we travel together, maybe backpack through Europe after graduation. She'd smile, nod, but her eyes would drift, like she was somewhere else. One incident burned itself into my memory. It was prom night, spring of senior year. We were at the venue in downtown San Francisco, all dressed up, her in a red dress that made my heart skip. But halfway through, I found her outside, texting furiously. I asked who it was. "Just Ryan, checking in," she said, casual, like it was no big deal. I pressed her, my voice tighter than I meant. "Why's he texting you on prom night?" Her face hardened. "God, Jake, can't I have friends? You don't own me." The words stung, but I swallowed them. I didn't want to ruin the night. Later, she softened, apologizing, saying she just needed space to figure herself out. She leaned into me, her perfume familiar, her voice sweet again. "I love you, Jake. You know that, right?" I nodded, pushing down the unease. I told myself love meant trust, and I trusted her. We'd been together for 3 years. Our parents adored us. Our friends called us the perfect couple. I thought we were solid, that her talk of exploring was just a phase. But looking back, I see how naive I was. Those texts weren't innocent. Her need to explore wasn't about travel. It was about Ryan. She'd been pulling away, testing the waters, while I clung to the idea of us. I remember one night at my house, lying on my bed, her head on my chest. She asked, "Do you ever feel like we're moving too fast?" I laughed, confused. "We've been together 3 years, Emma. If anything, we're taking it slow." She went quiet, her fingers tracing circles on my shirt. I should have pressed her then, but I didn't. I let it slide, trusting her love was enough. Now, standing in the aftermath of her betrayal, those moments haunt me. Every dodged question, every vague excuse was a thread in the web she wove. I gave her my heart, my trust, and she used it to keep me close while she strayed. As I stood at that party in San Francisco, the weight of her lies crashing down, I realized realized I'd ignored my gut for too long. I wasn't just heartbroken, I was angry at myself for being so blind. The morning after the party, I drove to Emma's apartment in Oakland, my hands gripping the steering wheel. My heart pounded like a drum in my chest. I'd barely slept, replaying Lucas's words in my head. Emma, pregnant with Ryan's kid, planning to trap me into raising it. I parked outside her building, the Bay Area fog thick around me, mirroring the haze in my mind. I clutched a pregnancy test I'd bought at a CVS in San Jose, determined to get answers. When Emma opened the door, her eyes widened, a flicker of guilt crossing her face. She wore an oversized hoodie, her hair messy, like she'd just woken up. "Jake, what's wrong?" she asked, her voice shaky. I stepped inside, the air heavy with tension. We sat on her worn-out couch, the same one we'd cuddled on countless times. I didn't waste time. "Lucas told me everything, Emma. You're pregnant, with Ryan's baby, and you want me to drop Stanford to take care of it?" Her face paled. She stammered, I was drunk, Jake. It was a stupid joke." Her eyes darted away, avoiding mine. My jaw clenched. "A joke? You think this is funny?" I held up the pregnancy test, my hand steady despite the storm inside me. "Prove it's a lie. Take this, now." Her mouth opened, then closed, like she was searching for an escape. Silence hung between us, thick and suffocating. Finally, she slumped, tears welling up. "Okay, fine," she whispered. "It's true. I slept with Ryan. Just once. It was a mistake." Her words hit like a punch to the gut. I leaned forward, my voice low. "A mistake? You're pregnant, Emma, and you thought I'd just play dad for you?" She sobbed, her hands covering her face. "I didn't mean for this to happen. Ryan's a mess, Jake. You're better than him. I thought you'd want to be with me, to make this work." I stood, pacing the small living room, my anger boiling over. "You thought I'd throw away my future for your lie? I trusted you, Emma. 3 years, and you do this?" She reached for my arm, but I pulled away. "I love you, Jake," she pleaded. "Not him. I want us to be a family." Her words felt like knives, twisting deeper. I shook my head, my voice cold. "We're done. I can't be with someone who betrays me like this." She grabbed the test, her hands trembling, and went to the bathroom. I waited, my mind racing. Part of me wanted to believe there was a chance the baby was mine, that this was all a nightmare I could wake from. But deep down, I knew the truth. When she came back, her face was blank, the test in her hand. "It's positive," she said quietly. I nodded, my throat tight. "I want a paternity test. If it's not mine, I'm out for good." Emma's eyes flashed with panic. "You don't trust me?" she snapped, trying to turn it on me. I almost laughed, the absurdity hitting me. "Trust you? After you cheated and lied? No, Emma, I'm done being your fool." I walked to the door, my heart heavy but resolute. She called after me, her voice breaking. "Jake, please, I need you." I didn't look back. The door clicked shut behind me, and I stepped into the cold Oakland air, feeling both shattered and free. I'd loved her, but I wouldn't let her ruin me. Driving back to San Jose, my mind was a mess. Emma's tearful confession echoed in my ears, each word a fresh cut. I'd loved her, planned a life with her, and now it was all ashes. My apartment felt empty, the silence deafening. I sat on my couch, staring at the wall, replaying every moment of our 3 years together. How had I missed the signs, the late-night texts, her vague excuses about Ryan? I felt like an idiot, but more than that, I felt broken. I agreed to wait for the paternity test results, not because I wanted to stay with Emma, but because I needed closure. If there was even a chance the baby was mine, I'd step up. My dad raised me to believe no kid should grow up without a father. But staying with her? That was off the table. She'd betrayed me, and no amount of tears could fix that. Still, Emma didn't get the memo. Her calls started the next day, her name lighting up my phone screen. "Jake, I'm sorry," her texts read. "Can we talk?" I ignored them, my heart twisting each time. Then she showed up at my place, unannounced, her eyes red from crying. "I just need you, Jake," she said, standing in my doorway. I crossed my arms, keeping my distance. "Emma, we're done. I'm only here until the test results come back." She stepped closer, her voice soft. "I'm scared, okay? I don't know how to do this alone." My chest ached. Part of me wanted to comfort her, the old habit of loving her still lingering, but I shook my head. "You made your choice when you went back to Ryan." She kept pushing, showing up at my job at a coffee shop in downtown San Jose. I'd be wiping down tables, and there she was, lingering by the counter, acting like we were still together. "Can you get me lunch?" she'd ask, rubbing her stomach, claiming the baby needed it. I'd buy her food to avoid a scene, but it drained me. Every interaction was a reminder of her betrayal, her voice pulling me back to the future we'd lost. I started dodging her calls, setting boundaries, but she'd find ways around them, texting from new numbers, even showing up at my gym. Lucas was my lifeline. He'd call to check in, dragging me out for burgers at In-N-Out or late-night drives along the Pacific Coast Highway. "You're stronger than this, Jake," he'd say, his voice steady. My mom, too, tried to help, but she was torn. She'd always loved Emma, thought we'd end up married. "Are you sure you're not being too hard on her?" she asked once, her brow furrowed. I snapped, "She cheated, Mom. She lied." Her face fell, and she hugged me, apologizing. Their support kept me grounded, but the pain was relentless. Those weeks were torture. I'd lie awake, my mind stuck on Emma's laugh, her touch, the way she'd made me feel whole. Now, all I felt was anger and grief. I'd check my phone, half expecting an apology that'd make it all okay, but her messages were desperate, manipulative. "The baby can feel my stress, Jake," she texted once. else. You're making this harder. I wanted to scream. She was the one who'd broken us, yet she acted like I owed her something. I clung to my plans for Stanford, my acceptance letter pinned to my fridge like a lifeline. I wasn't going to let her take that from me. But every time she showed up, every time I heard her voice, it was like ripping open a wound. I was mourning the girl I thought I knew, the life I thought we'd have. Yet, slowly, I started to see it. I deserved better. I wasn't her fallback plan, her safety net. I was Jake Miller, and I was done letting her control me. The weeks waiting for the paternity test results were a nightmare. Emma's desperation grew, her attempts to pull me back relentless. She'd show up at my San Jose apartment, leaving notes on my car, begging for one more talk. I kept my distance, but she found new ways to twist the knife. One evening, my mom called, her voice tight. "Jake, Emma was here. She says you're the father and you're abandoning her." My blood ran cold. I gripped the phone, my voice shaking. "She's lying, Mom. I took a paternity test. It's not mine." Emma's lies had spread, poisoning even my family's trust. I dug out the test results from a drawer, my hands trembling as I showed them to my mom. Her eyes softened, filled with regret. "I'm so sorry, Jake. She was so convincing," crying in my arms. I nodded, my throat tight. "She's good at that, Mom." It hurt, knowing Emma had manipulated the one person who'd always believed in me. I told my mom to cut contact with her, and she agreed, her face hardening. But Emma didn't stop. She started posting cryptic messages on social media, vague posts about heartless people abandoning her. My phone buzzed with texts from mutual friends, asking if I'd really ditched a pregnant girl. I ignored them, but the rumors stung. Lucas warned me she was telling people I'd promised to raise the baby, then bailed. I felt trapped, her lies closing in like a fog over the Bay Area. Then came the night that changed everything. My phone rang at 2 a.m., Emma's name flashing on the screen. I almost ignored it, but her voicemail was frantic, her words slurred through sobs. "Jake, I can't do this without you. I don't want to live anymore." My heart stopped. She mentioned the baby, saying she'd end it all if I didn't come back. Panic surged through me. Despite everything, her betrayal, her lies, I couldn't let her hurt herself or the child. I kept her on the phone, my voice calm, though my hands shook. "Emma, just talk to me. Stay where you are." While she rambled, I grabbed my landline and called the San Jose police, my voice low as I gave them her address. "She's threatening to harm herself," I said, my chest tight. I stayed on the line with her, listening to her sobs, her pleas for me to fix this. Each word was a weight, pulling me back into her chaos. I heard sirens in the background, then a knock on her door. "They're here, Emma," I said. "Let them help you." The police took her to a mental health facility in Oakland. I sat on my couch, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. Part of me felt relief she was safe, getting help, but another part was furious. She dragged me into her mess again, using her pain as a weapon. The next day, Lucas called, his voice grim. "She's telling people you called the cops to get rid of her." I laughed bitterly. Of course she is. When the paternity results came, they confirmed what I knew. The baby wasn't mine. I showed Emma the paper, her face crumpling. "Jake, please," she begged. "Ryan won't step up. I need you." I shook my head, my voice steady. "That's not my job, Emma. You made your choices." Walking away, I felt a weight lift, but my heart still ached. Not for her, but for the kid who'd grow up without a dad. I'd done all I could. Now, I had to save myself. With Emma out of my life, I threw myself into starting over. I moved to Palo Alto for Stanford, my dream school, the campus buzzing with possibility. The weight of her betrayal lingered, but I was determined to rebuild. My first week, I joined a hiking club, trekking through the Santa Cruz Mountains with new friends who didn't know my past. Their laughter, the crisp air, it all felt like a fresh start. I wasn't Jake, the guy who got played. I was just Jake, ready to chase my future. Classes were intense, but they kept my mind busy. I'd sit in lecture halls, scribbling notes, feeling a spark I hadn't felt in months. I started dating again, cautiously, meeting a girl named Sarah at a coffee shop near campus. She was kind, straightforward, nothing like Emma's chaos. Our first date, grabbing tacos in downtown Palo Alto, was simple but real. I didn't tell her about Emma, not yet, but her easy smile made me believe I could trust again. Lucas stayed my anchor. He'd text me dumb memes or call to check in, making sure I wasn't slipping back into the darkness. One weekend, I drove back to San Jose to meet him at our old haunt, a burger joint off Highway 101. He slid an envelope across the table, grinning. "Open it, man." Inside was a letter, signed by our high school friends, full of love and pride for me getting into Stanford. "You're killing it, Jake," Lucas said, raising his soda. My throat tightened. For the first time in months, I felt whole. Emma faded to a distant memory, like a bad dream I could barely recall. I heard through mutual friends she was still in Oakland, struggling but getting help. I didn't wish her harm, but I was done carrying her weight. My mom, now fully on my side, would call to share stories about her garden or my dad's latest fishing trip. Their support, Lucas's loyalty, and my new life at Stanford, they were my foundation. One night, studying in my dorm, I looked at my Stanford acceptance letter, still pinned to my wall. I smiled, realizing how far I'd come. Emma's betrayal had nearly broken me, but it also set me free. I wasn't defined by her lies or her chaos. I was Jake Miller, a guy with dreams, friends, and a future I'd fight for. The pain still stung sometimes, late at night when memories crept in, but it was quieter now, drowned drowned out by the life I was building. Sitting in a campus cafe, surrounded by the hum of students and the smell of fresh coffee, I felt a spark of hope. I'd survived the worst, come out stronger. My phone buzzed Lucas, inviting me to a game night with our old crew over break. I typed back, "Count me in." As I sipped my coffee, watching the sunset over the Stanford quad, I knew one thing for sure. I was done letting anyone else write my story. Sitting in my Stanford dorm, the hum of campus life outside my window, I've had time to think about what Emma's betrayal taught me. It's been months since that night at the San Francisco party, since my world turned upside down. The pain hasn't vanished completely. It lingers like a bruise, tender when pressed. But I've learned to carry it differently, to let it shape me without breaking me. Looking back, I see the lessons carved into every moment of that chaos. Lessons I'll carry for life. First, I learned to trust my gut. Those early doubts about Emma, the texts with Ryan, her vague talk of exploring weren't just paranoia. They were warnings I ignored because I loved her. I wanted to believe in us, in the future we'd planned over late-night talks at Ocean Beach. But love doesn't mean blindness. If something feels off, it probably is. I won't make that mistake again. Now, when I date, like with Sarah, I listen to my instincts. I ask questions. I don't let red flags slide. I also learned my worth isn't tied to someone else's choices. Emma's betrayal made me feel like a fool, like I wasn't enough. But her actions were about her, not me. She chose to cheat, to lie, to try to trap me. That's on her. I spent too long letting her chaos define me, but now I know better. I'm Jake Miller, a guy who fought for his dreams, who got into Stanford, who built a life surrounded by people who lift me up. No one gets to take that away. My friends and family showed me what real support looks like. Lucas was there through every breakdown, every late-night rant, never judging, always steady. My mom, once swayed by Emma's tears, became my rock once she knew the truth. Their belief in me pulled me through the darkest days. I learned to lean on the people who show up, who prove their love with actions, not just words. I've got a crew now at Stanford, hiking buddies, study partners who remind me I'm never alone. Most importantly, I learned resilience. Emma's manipulation, her lies, her desperate attempts to pull me back, they could have destroyed me. There were nights I wanted to give in, to answer her calls, to make her pain stop, but I didn't. I set boundaries, walked away, and kept going. That strength wasn't just about surviving her, it was about choosing myself. I'm proud of that. Stanford's been a fresh start, a place to chase my dreams without her shadow. I'm studying computer science, planning to build something big, maybe a startup one day. The future feels wide open. Sometimes I think about that kid, the one who'll grow up without a dad because Ryan bailed and Emma gambled on me. It stings, knowing they're caught in her mess, but I couldn't save them, not without losing myself. My dad taught me to take responsibility, but I've learned it's not my job to fix everyone else's mistakes. I've got my own life to live, my own path to carve. As I sit here, my laptop open, the Stanford quad glowing under the California sun, I feel stronger than I ever have. Emma's betrayal was a storm, but I came out the other side. I know who I am now, what I'm worth, and what I won't tolerate. I'm ready for whatever comes next. New friendships, new love, new dreams. The scars are there, but they're proof I survived, and I'm just getting started.